Hello, Jamie Ballard here of Cupcakes and Haystacks, and in this video I'm going to be sharing a brand new branding kit for your digital products. Now, if you love everything that I share with you in this video, the fonts, the clip art, the patterns, all of that good stuff, you are in luck, because down below in the description I'm going to have a link so that you can download this branding kit for yourself, okay? I'll provide you with all of the links inside of that download that you need to purchase the same assets that I'm using, including my digital calendar template that you see here. So if you love these types of videos, don't forget to subscribe and to like so you can see more stuff like this in the future. Otherwise, we're ready to start creating. Now, I have been creating digital planners, journals, calendars, and teaching others how to create them for about 4 years now, maybe making them a little bit longer than selling. And I have to say that one of the main questions that I get from my customers or from my students over and over again is, why aren't my products selling? I have created from scratch, or I've used one of these templates and I'm just not getting sales, okay? Now, one of the big misconceptions that sometimes people have when they start up their own online businesses selling digital products is they think that they are going to make mounds and mounds of passive income overnight. And unfortunately, that's just not how it works, okay? Now, when my students are asking me this question, there are a handful of different things that I always recommend that they check on. The first is, are you advertising? Okay, so even if you are creating on Etsy and throwing out a listing, you're not guaranteed any sales at all unless you are making an effort to market and advertise your product. It could be that you decide to purchase ads through Etsy, or maybe you're going to do your marketing on social media, or you have a hearty email list that you're going to be using to showcase your products, okay? Whatever way it is that you decide to get your stuff out there, you have to make sure that you're visible. Pricing is another issue. Are you setting your prices too low? Are you setting them too high? Okay, you need to find a happy medium for your customer base. But where I always like to start, and what I really believe should be the jumping off point, is what are your products like, okay? The fact of the matter is, people like pretty things. People will pay for pretty things. But if you have a product that is chaotic and, let's face it, ugly, no one is going to buy, okay? So I like to start there as my foundation, and then I can work on advertising and I can troubleshoot all of the other things. So my hope with these branding videos is that I can help you learn how to create a cohesive and a pretty design, okay? And a great way to do that is to start with a branding kit, a mood board, a plan, and then you can make sure that everything works together before putting it into your actual design, okay? It's always best to start with a plan. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. And in this particular video, we are going to be using the 2024 Pantone color of the year, which is, I believe it's called Peach Fuzz, okay? And don't worry, I'll make sure to share the hex code and such with you. But I want to show you how I'm going to be incorporating that color into my designs this year. Alright, now when putting together my plan for a project, there's a handful of different things that I always need to look for, okay? My clip art and patterns is one. My fonts, I always want to have at least 2 that I'm going to be working with, sometimes 3. Lifestyle elements, like bringing in things like pencils, post-it notes, coffee cups, flowers, things of that nature. Backgrounds, and then also I always try to keep a number of different paper textures and such on hand, okay? Those are really great for creating digital products like digital planners and such. And my favorite place to find these assets is on Creative Market. Now, there are a handful of different reasons why I prefer Creative Market. One of them is that the options are absolutely endless, and there's usually a really good range as far as prices. I can find something that's really cheap, but sometimes I can find something that's much higher quality that I'm going to pay a little bit more for. And there are some assets that I don't mind paying the extra money for. The second thing is that when I purchase, I can automatically choose to select a commercial license, which gives me the permission to use those particular elements in products that I'm going to sell. And Creative Market is very clear about the guidelines with those commercial licenses. You can use other sites like Etsy and such, but you do need to be careful that within the seller's description they are specifically telling you that you can use whatever it is that you've purchased in a product that you're going to sell. And if you don't see that information within the wording, then it's your responsibility to reach out to the seller and specifically ask them. I do recommend that if you do that, that you keep their response on file just to keep yourself safe, because they can take legal action against you if you are using their products to sell things without their permission, okay? But pretty much everything that I'm going to show you in this video, I'm going to be finding on Creative Market, okay? All right, so the first thing that I want to look for is going to be my clip art and my patterns. That's where I like to start. From that, I kind of get a vibe, and I can pull things like my fonts and then decide on lifestyle elements and all of those things specifically off of the clip art and the patterns, okay? So first, like I said, our color of the year is going to be Peach Fuzz. And let me just see if I can pull up that color here for you real quick. Pantone color of the year 2024. Let's see here. All right, so you can see that it's this color right here. It's this peach, okay? It's a pastel color. I actually really love this color, so I was excited. I had bets with my business bestie, Michelle, what it was going to be, and I totally called pastel, so this makes me happy. Now, you will see that when I am looking for my assets, I am not really worried about the exact hex code or the exact shade of the peach, okay? I just know that I want a peach color. If you want to be very specific about it, you certainly can, and I'll make sure that within the branding kit that I provide you with, that the hex code is that official color. But when I'm doing my search for everything, I'm not too worried about the exact shade of this color, okay? Now, typically, when I am looking up a theme, like let's say maybe I want to do like a floral theme, I can just type in floral patterns or clip art. Now, this one for this year I found to be a little bit trickier, and that's because the color peach also represents a fruit, okay? So I feel like probably more of my results when searching came up with clip art for like actual peaches as opposed to the color. So I had to be a little bit more creative with my keywords. So let's say, for instance, if I just put in peach patterns, let's see what comes up. All right, see, we get all of our fruits here, okay? And while some of these may be peach in color as well, I'm not really looking to create a digital planner right now that has fruit in it, although this is a super cute pattern set here. So I need to add in a few more keywords so I can get results that I want, okay? So let's put in peach floral. Now, the reason why I enter in patterns instead of clip art is because I'm much more likely to get a set of patterns that also includes clip art that matches, all right? You could do a search for clip art as well, but a lot of times patterns are included from what I can see with my own search results. So here you can see we have a few fruits in here, but we're seeing a lot more of the actual floral, so that made a big difference. But for this one, I typically almost always go to the florals, and I want to do something a little bit different this time. It may be that it's in the middle of winter right now, and I'm feeling kind of summery, but I'm kind of wanting something that is a little bit more light, something that is a little bit more fun. So let's see here. What's another way? One thing that always comes to mind when we are talking about like the color peach is it's kind of got like a boho type desert vibe. All right, so let's see what comes up with that. Because our sand and the sunsets and such are peach as well. So you can see like we have these here. So let me click on this. Now there's a handful of different things that I am looking for when I am picking out my patterns and such. The first I already touched on briefly is I want to make sure that whatever I purchase has both patterns and has clip art, okay? Because I'm going to be using both of those things in my designs, and I want to make sure that they match. So I always take a look first just to see what all is included. So these would be really cute for calendars. But I don't know that there's going to be, ooh, that's pretty. I don't know if there's going to be any actual like repeating patterns in here. And I don't see that there is. So this might not be the one that I want. Although I could use this as like the cover to my calendar because it is going to be a portrait style calendar. So let me pop over here real quick and just show you what I'm looking for. So I want to have something that fills my cover here as well. And then I want to have something that's going to be decorative here along the top of most of my pages. So perhaps I wouldn't need like a repeating pattern, okay? But we'll see what else it is that we can come up with. Oh, let me show you the other things I like to look for though while we still have this open. I of course am looking at price, okay? So for this particular bundle, if I am selecting the commercial license, and if you are planning on selling the digital calendar or journal or planner it is that you're selling or that you're creating, you do have to have a commercial license. You don't need the extended unless you're going to be selling like a ton, like a crap ton of them. You can familiarize yourself with the different things that are included within the different licenses, but typically I just do the 1-seat commercial, okay? But we also need to look at a few other things. We need to make sure that this is going to include PNG files, okay? So I'm going to click here, and I can see that there's 102 PNGs, so I know that I'll be okay with that. Some of these clip art and pattern sets may be made just for Photoshop or just for Illustrator, in which case they wouldn't be a good fit for if you are designing specifically just within like Apple Keynote, for instance, which is my preference when creating these type of hyperlinked projects, okay? Another thing that we want to look for is the DPI. You can see right here that the DPI is set at 300, and that's perfect, okay? I would never choose anything less than a 300 DPI in a project like this because we want to make sure that our final product for our customer is as clear and as crisp as possible, which is another thing that goes into whether or not your products are selling, okay? If even looking at the listing images, they can see that the quality isn't that great, they're not going to want to spend their money on it. Another thing that we need to pay attention to are the dimensions, okay? So this is going to be 3,000 by 5,000 pixels, which in my opinion is like the perfect size, okay? Typically my screen is never going to be wider or taller than about 2,700 pixels or so. Don't quote me on that exact size, but so as long as my dimensions are either exactly that size or larger, then I'm good with it, okay? So this, if I really loved this bundle, this would be good, okay? Now 35 may be a bit more than what you want to spend. Sometimes I will pay that much for whatever kit or whatever pattern and clip art bundle it is that I've purchased, but usually if I do, it has more than what I'm seeing here, so I know that I can reuse it on multiple projects, but it's whatever you're comfortable with your price point, okay? So let's go back again and see what else we've got going here. All right. Now this is one that I've kind of been toying with. I think that it wouldn't work for this particular project, but if you are looking at my my digital calendars, my digital calendar templates, if you happen to notice the version 2, I think that this would be the perfect fit for it. It has these kind of surrealist, really colorful scenes. So this is still an option for certain digital products, but for the one that we're working on, it's not going to be the perfect fit, but I love those peach colors in there. And I'll go through a couple pages, and if I don't find anything that really stands out to me, then I will change up my keyword. And another thing I want to mention is even though our theme is peach, it doesn't our assets don't have to be overwhelmingly peach, okay? To have like a nice pop of it is awesome. See, here's another one of these landscapes. I'm gonna have to find a way to use these because they're so cute. But like you can see here, I love Natalie's different bundles, and you can see that there's just like hints of peach here and there, but there are lots of other colors in there as well. And that is what I'm personally looking for. Okay, so sometimes I just like these really weird but super pretty bundles. Let's take a look at this one right here. It's Groovy Space. Ooh, and I really love Mio as well. Her stuff is awesome. I have a lot of her stuff. All right, so let's check the things, okay, before we fall in love with it. I want to preview the files. You can see there's 121 PNGs, okay? So I know that I'm safe with PNGs. Now, the reason why we're looking for PNGs and not just JPEGs, because PNGs are going to give us the clip art that's going to have the transparent background. If you just see JPEGs and you don't see PNGs, then you're not going to have that transparent clip art, okay? We have 300 DPI, and let's see here. Usually they have the actual pixels, but this one doesn't. But if I really like this, I'm going to take the risk because I have a lot of her stuff and I know that the file sizes or the dimension sizes are appropriate. But if you ever have any questions about that, I have found that most of the creators on Creative Market are very responsive. So I could click on her and I could choose to send her a message. Let's see if it comes up. Yeah, I could send a message, and I know I've sent messages to her before, and she's always been really quick to respond. So let's see what all is in here. I'm gonna click here. I love the colors, and you can see that there's a whole variety of the different peaches. And so if that's a color that's trending this year, you can see we've got, this is basically like my branding pink right here for my own business. So I love this whole variety of colors, that they're the pastels, and there's a whole variety of these different peach tones. So we have some posters. I even love this deep burnt orange color. We've got stickers. And we do have patterns. I love these. So you will find that you definitely have a style. There are going to be things that really jump out to you when you're doing these searches. And that's what you want to look for because you want to love whatever it is that you're creating. But I adore all these colors. If you could see my whole apartment right now, you would see that this is very much my style. So I think that I'm really happy with this. So we know that the DPI is good. We have PNG files, we have patterns, and we have clip art. So I could use this potentially then for a whole variety of calendars, okay? I could probably at least create 3 unique designs with this one set. And I haven't even looked at the price yet. Maybe you caught that before I did. But I just really love this a lot, okay? So we know it's including the color-ish of 2024, and that's what we were going for as well. It's a little bit unique. It's going to make my design stand out from all of the rest. So now let's go back and make sure that this isn't going to break the bank. Maybe. There we go. All right, so it is $28. So that's actually a really good price point for me. I'm very comfortable with that. So I think I'm going to go with this one. If for some reason I download it and the dimensions are not appropriate, then I'll probably just edit this part out of the video, who am I kidding, and find a different one for you, but this one I think is what I'd like to do. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I purchase the commercial license, and I will have the link for this particular bundle within your branding kit as well, if you love this and you'd like to use it in your designs as well. All right? Alright, so now that I know what my patterns and my clip art are going to be for this particular project, it's time for me to choose my fonts. And I want to make sure those fonts complement the assets that I've already decided on. Okay, so usually I'm going for a specific vibe with my fonts. Now I'm going to pop on over here to my calendar here again, just so I can show you that typically when I'm putting together a project like this, I need to select a series of fonts, okay? One of them is going to be kind of bold. It's going to be an eye catcher. And that's the one that I'm going to use for like my monthly headers here, okay? And it's going to be the one that I use for my digital calendar title here. But then you can see that when we're looking here at January, we do have more text that's going to be like our days of the week or our notes indicator. These, you can still use a fun font for this, but first you need to make sure that it's readable, okay? We don't want to use like maybe a cursive where you can't really read what the weekly abbreviations are. You also need to make sure that it's not a show stealer, okay? Our main headline font should be the most attention getting font. And then our secondary, like the title suggests, it should just support that other font, okay? So they need to work well together. Your secondary can still be fun, but it can't steal the show. Then you typically need a third font, okay? That one, it's not so pressing, but if you can see, so over here in this particular template, I have a place for you to put in your website, okay? That just needs to be a plain Jane font, something that's very simple, easy to read, just like what you see is here already, okay? And that is usually not a font that you need to purchase. You can typically just grab a simple like sans serif or something along those lines within whatever software program it is that you're using. Just a freebie will work, okay? So for this particular project, another instance where you would want to use just that plain Jane font is if you are writing out complete sentences or paragraphs, okay? Because the main point for those particular text boxes are going to be readability, all right? So don't get fancy with those, but with little things like our little days of the week and our headers, we can have more fun with, all right? So I'm going to come back over here to Creative Market, and now we're going to start shopping for our fonts. So if you remember our patterns in our clip art, they were titled Groovy Space. So that makes me think hippie, which is kind of fun. I love that stuff. So I'm going to pick out kind of like a hippie font. So let's just stay with that word groovy, okay? Groovy font. There we go. And let's see what we come up with. So you can see right away, we get like these fun retro fonts, all right? And there are so many to choose from, okay? You can see that there is almost 300,000 just for that term groovy, all right? So what you could do is you could go through until you find one that you like. If you click on a font, one thing that I really like about Creative Market is you can type in whatever you want, whatever you're going to be using this font for, and see what it looks like, okay? So that's pretty cute right there. Sometimes I will do this, but what I recommend even more, especially if you're just starting out, is building up your font library. And it can be much more cost effective for you to buy a huge bundle. So you can see that this font all by itself, it's $30. And by the way, you only need the desktop version, because when you are creating digital products, like digital planners, digital calendars, journals, printables, those you are going to be creating either PDF documents or you're going to be creating JPEGs, PNGs, and so they do not fall under the EPUB, the app, or the web font guidelines, okay? Desktop is going to be appropriate for those things. Even if they're being used on an iPad, they are not going to be, there's no way for someone to go in and pull that font out of it, okay? We're going to be offering up basically like flattened images to our customers. Okay, so desktop is appropriate. All right, so let's go back, and instead of putting in just one search term like groovy or hippie, how about we look for bundles? So there's one in particular, huge font bundle, that I really like that I have. I think it's this one right here. So now you can see that instead of spending like $30 for one font, this is $29 and it has over 200 fonts. And I can say from experience, I have really loved a lot of these fonts. So I'm not sure. There is one in here in particular that is called Groovy Love. And I really like it a lot. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it right off the bat. Let's see here. So when they include all of the different variants, like some of them will have like a regular one, or it'll be like a textured one, or thin and such. When we have all of the variants of the 200 and some odd fonts, we actually have 512 fonts. So I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to, right off the bat, find the one that I'm thinking of, but it's so cute. I might just have to show you in Canva. It's all chunky and it's got like little hearts and the O's and such. So sorry, pretty much everything I show you is going to have pink and it's going to be girly, so if that's not your jam, then you can just pay attention how to create your own kit and mood board and go for your own style. Okay, yeah, it's totally not going to come here. So let's see here. I'm going to link this bundle for you because I think it's fabulous. And I'm going to pop over here to the branding kit that I have actually put together after purchasing my my clip art and such, and show you what that font looks like. Oh, here it is. Oh my gosh, isn't that so cute? Alright, so that is going to be included in that huge font bundle that I just showed you, and is going to be the one that I'm going to be using in this particular project. But you are not restricted to this. You can find whichever one you want. As you saw, there are a million different options available. Okay, now you can see for my secondary font, this is the one that I'm going to be using for the days of the week and such. It's titled Indie Flower, and it's labeled is free. Okay, so that one I did not purchase off of Creative Market. Okay, instead, because I like a good deal, typically before I decide on a final project, I look through Google Fonts, which are free to download, and I just see if there's maybe something there that works before I invest in buying a new font. So I'm going to type in Google Fonts, and it's fonts.google.com, and don't worry, I will have this one linked as well as a full bundle within the branding kit. And I'm going to type in Indie Flower, and there we go. And this one also will allow you to type in your text, and this is going to be really important for what we're using it for, because I want to make sure, like I said, that it's readable. So I'm going to type in sun, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, and I just want to make sure that everything I'm using this for is going to be readable. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is that also, if you are going to be using periods, commas, exclamation points, things like that, you need to make sure that whatever font it is that you're purchasing has that available, because sometimes when you're purchasing off of places like Creative Market, those characters are not going to be available, okay? So if you're going to need certain things, I always recommend you testing it out, seeing what they look like, and making sure that they're actually available, okay? Because if you're using a specific font that doesn't have those characters available, when you go to type it in within Keynote or whatever program it is that you're using, it's just going to be a blank space, okay? So that is something that you don't want to overlook. All right, so those are the two fonts that I'm going to be using. Let's say I didn't find Indie Flower in Google Fonts, okay? Probably what I would have done is done a search for handwritten fonts if there wasn't one in this bundle specifically that I wanted. And I would have, and I would have just kind of gone through these, okay? And again, I'd want to be careful that it's something that's readable and something that's not going to steal the show, okay? So some will be better than others. Like for instance, this one would be very difficult to read when we're looking at just abbreviated words and such, okay? So that is how I select my fonts. So now that I have my patterns, my clip art, and my fonts selected, I want to take a look at lifestyle elements. I want to punch up my design with some fun little touches, and I usually like to do that by bringing in things like coffee cups, candles, real life nature elements, like maybe some sticks or leaves or flowers. I like to bring in pencils, different office things like paper clips and such. So that is going to be our next step. Alright, so if you have ever taken my course, the Extraordinary Digital Planner Design course, or any of my templates, I have a whole bunch of them, you know that I love the realistic style, like I was just mentioning, okay? And I achieve that mostly through very intentional drop shadows, okay? So you can see here that this almost looks like a real paper calendar. The only thing that stops the eye from thinking that is that there is no texture involved, okay? So I don't have anything that looks like a real background, like perhaps a marble tabletop or something metallic that's going to mimic like a stainless steel refrigerator that your calendar's hanging on, or a wood background like it's sitting on a desk, or a cork background like it's been pinned to a cork board, okay? Those are all things that are going to be a really great way to add depth and realism to your design, and then also paper texture, okay? Just this plain white, it doesn't look like real paper. We don't see the grain in it. It doesn't look like you can see it and touch it and it'll actually feel like paper. So when I'm referring to backgrounds and texture, those are the things that I'm referring to, okay? So there are a ton of different options, once again, for you in Creative Market. And I will have some things linked for you, but just to give you some ideas for keywords, okay? Let's say desk background. Let's just play with what comes up. So you can see that we have a lot of mock-ups, but that's not necessarily what we want to look for. So when it comes to things like our backgrounds, so I said desk. Let's assume that our desk is going to be a wood grain, okay? Instead of putting in a desk background, what I want to do is I want to get more specific. I'm going to type in wood grain background. Oops, I spelled that wrong. Let's see if it still comes up. Okay, there we go. All right, so now you can see that we have a ton of different wood patterns that are going to come up for us, okay? Some of them will be illustrated. I usually skip over those because I'm a sucker for that realistic look, but then quite a few of them you'll see are actually going to be real wood images, okay? So let's see what this one is here. See, there's a ton of different wood grains here, okay? So having a bundle like this would be really great because then you have the option to add variety to all your different designs. And we can see that it's 300 dpi. The dimensions are big enough. We'll preview the files, and let's see here. Oh gosh, so this is something that'll happen sometimes if they are providing you with like a really large file. The links will not say what format the stuff is in because it's actually taking you to like a PDF where when you open the PDF and then there will be links to download the different things. So instead I'm going to come over here to the description and it tells me that they are going to be provided as JPEG files, which is completely appropriate. We don't need to worry about PNGs when it comes to the backgrounds and the texture and such, because we don't need that transparent background, okay? So having a bundle like this would be really great. I also like to have marble. And you can usually find some really fun options for that as well. You can see we have a ton of different things then, okay? And you can get as simple or as fancy pants as you like with it. Something like this might be nice to have slight colors available to you. But I'm usually, when it comes to the marble, I'm usually a purist. And I just like to keep the simple white and gray shades, okay? Another option is cork. So you can see we have these cork textures here. So that's an option too. If you wanted to switch out the word texture for, or if you wanted to switch out the word background for texture, then you'll come up with good options for those too. But you just want to check on all of the same things. When you click on it, you want to make sure the DPI is correct, the dimensions are correct, and the actual, the pixels are going to be enough as well. All right. And actually, I'm going to head back to the marble because I just had an idea. So you can see a lot of marble actually has a natural, like peach tint to it. So that might be something that would be really good because the color is then going to complement whatever patterns and clip art you're bringing in. Okay, so that might be something that's really nice to put in the background. All right, so that is how I figure out my backgrounds. And then you also want to make sure that you have paper texture. And just like with these backgrounds, there are so many options available. You can find huge bundles, you can find small bundles, you can find paper that already has color in it, you can find paper that is just white. I am going to have one linked for you that I personally use and love, but don't be afraid to even branch out beyond what I'm providing you with and just kind of see what's out there. It could be that your taste is different than mine and you want to be true to your own unique style, okay? So you can look for craft papers, kind of like a cardboard look. You can have like a linen type texture or just a paper grain. So yeah, feel free to get creative with it, but those are always going to be the main 5 things that I am planning for before I begin my design. We have our clip arts and our pattern, our fonts, our lifestyle elements, our backgrounds, and then our papers and textures. Okay, so now that we have all of this out of the way, let's head on over to the actual branding kit that I have linked for you down below within the description so I can show you how that works. All right. All right, so when you download your digital product branding kit, the 2024 Color of the Year edition, right now I'm showing it to you in Canva, but it's actually going to be a PDF document and it'll have a variety of different clickable links, okay? But for the purposes of just showing you what's included in it and how everything kind of fits together, I'm just going to show you here within Canva. So we're going to have our cover page. We have the terms of use. So I do want to mention that I, here in a minute, am going to be showing you an example of how I used all of these different elements to customize my own digital calendar. And while you can pull inspiration from that, you just want to make sure that you're not copying my exact design, okay? You'll want to make sure that you're placing the clip art in its own unique way, that you're using the patterns in your own unique way. Just make sure that you're not creating an exact copy of my own work, okay? You want to make sure that your own unique style is still going to be shining through. I'm going to have a link to this video, so if you ever need to go back and reference this particular video, all you'd need to do is click on this link on your iPad or on your computer or whatever, and that video will open up for you. And then I have an example of the different patterns that are included within this particular kit. okay? Now these, I can't just give them to you for free because I didn't make them, okay? But I will have the links provided for you so that you can purchase it from the seller if you'd like to. And you can do that by clicking right up here on this title, or down below I will have additional links for that, okay? And then we have a color palette, okay? This is going to be a color palette that I have put together from the different colors that are included within the patterns in the clip art. And you can see here that I have hex codes available to you. So whether you're creating an Affinity Publisher, Apple Keynote, InDesign, wherever it is that you are creating your digital creations, all you need to do is just type in this hex code and you'll be able to use this specific color, okay? And then we have, well, another thing about the color palette too is don't get too crazy. Here in a minute, I'm going to show you how you can create kind of your own mood board, but you can see that I've limited it down to 6 colors, and 2 of those colors are actually neutrals. We need to be careful that we aren't bringing in too much chaos into our design, so I typically try to keep it to like these 6 colors or even sometimes 5 colors or less in order to make sure that it's just not too crazy, okay? It's not confusing. Then we have our fonts, okay? So here, if you remember, we have Groovy Love and we have the Indie Flower. I have linked both of these. You can just click on the particular fonts and it will open them up to, if you click on the Indie Flower, it'll take you to Google Fonts where you can download, or if you click here, it will take you to the Creative Market listing. Some of these will be, they will be affiliate links. That means that I might receive a small commission if you're using these links. Just a heads up with that. And let's see, but we have buttons for them down below, okay? So this is a compilation of all of the different things that I've shared with you, okay? This is kind of a preview of the patterns and clip art that we're working with, and then a little preview of my example. And then these are each buttons, okay? So this particular button for calendar templates, this is going to take you to the templates that you're going to see that I've customized, my personal templates. And then I have a toolkit, okay? The toolkit, if you want to learn even more about how to customize your designs, make them look more pretty, more realistic, and dig deeper than what I've done in this video, I share all of my favorite design hacks and tricks for my own designs in this particular, it's actually called the Digital Planner Toolkit, but it can be used for calendars, planners, even some printables to an extent, okay? And then the paper textures that I really like, the lifestyle elements. This is going to be the scene creator that we found. We have a link for the patterns in the clip art bundle, and then for the 2 different fonts, and then some of my favorite background images, okay? So hopefully this will make it very easy for you to pull all of the inspiration that I've shared with you in this video. But let's say that you want to create your own kind of branding kit, okay? A really simple way to do that, I'm gonna come over here to Canva, is to simply come over here to templates, and I'm going to do a search for mood boards. And let's just do this here. You're going to see that there are a ton of options available to you. These are just going to be 1-page documents. They don't need to be as fleshed out as what I've shown you here within the branding kit, okay? But I did try to put as much detail in it as possible to make it easy for you. But just pick one out that you like. So let's say this one here, okay? And then we'll choose to customize. So you can see here that there are places where you can add fonts. We have places where we can drop in clip art, and we can drop in patterns, and we can bring in colors, okay? So I have brought in a lot of the elements. Oops, that's not what I want. I have brought in a lot of the patterns in the clip art that I use, or that I found when we were hopping through Creative Market, and you can just choose to drop them right in. Go like this. And bring this one in here. And then once you have brought in some patterns, and maybe you can bring in some clip art, And no one is going to see this but you, so you can be as messy or as creative with it as you'd like. But you'll just bring in some of the elements that you think you might want to use within your design. Especially elements that have colors that you're really excited about using. I'm going to show you why that's important here in just a second. That's so cute. Alright, so you can see that some of the things that I've brought in at least have that peach color that we're looking for, okay? I have it in the clouds here. There's a slightly different shade, 2 different shades of peach here within my little spaceship. So then what I want to do is I want to bring in my color palette. So I am going to click on just one of these little blocks, and I'm going to click on this color square that pops up here for me. Let me move my head out of the way. I'm going to scroll down here until I find photo colors. Okay, so anything that I've dropped into this particular design, they are going to show up for me here. I'm going to click See All, and you can see all the different main colors found within these designs here are listed for me. So I can put together a really great color palette this way, and I'm going to know automatically that the colors that I'm choosing here are going to match the clip art and the patterns. So we can grab this one here, and there we go. Alright, so maybe those will be my main colors, and then for my background here, maybe I want to select a neutral color. Alright, and then I usually will choose just a normal black, or if you wanted to do like a really deep brown color, something like that, you could as well. I do recommend that you adding in your hex codes. So if you wanted to do that, you would just grab a little text box, bring it down here, and I'm going to click on this particular shape here. I'm going to click on this color box again. I'm going to click on that color, and you can see a hex code comes up here. I'll copy it, I'll come back here, and I'll paste it in. Okay, and then I'll do that for each of the colors, because we want to make sure that no matter what program it is that we're using, we want to be very specific with our colors to make sure that everything's just matching as it should. Okay, then up here I could select one of these text boxes, and I would want to find one of the fonts that I'm going to use. And a lot of times I like to actually type the name of the font so I remember what it's called. And then we'll grab the indie font. There we go. I'll make it a bit bigger so I can see it. And then I'll type in the name for that as well. All right. Alright, so honestly, even if you choose to go with the branding kit that I've provided you with, this is still a good idea, because it could be that you are choosing to use different clip art than what I use in my own personal example. Everything that you find within the clip art and the pattern bundle that I have linked, you're not going to use every single one of those elements, okay? So this is going to be a really great idea to narrow down which elements of that particular bundle that you like and that you want to use, and that's going to make it easier for you to pick the specific color palette and such that you'd like to use, okay? And really just make sure that everything fits well together. So let's say I'm looking at this right here, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think that this pattern really goes well with it. I'm not going to use it in my design. So I'm going to take that out, and I could choose to either pick out another pattern, or I could choose to just keep things simple. A lot of times I will only use one pattern throughout my entire design, and then just use the clip art to kind of spice up the other pages. All right, so when it comes down to it, you just want to make sure that all of the different things that you have picked out, that they work well together. And actually another thing that I like to do here is I also like to bring in my paper textures. So let me grab that. I have a folder that has all of my paper textures that I like to make sure that I keep around. And so I might just click on that, expand it here, and send it all the way to the back. And then when I'm looking at all the colors, I can make sure, does this paper color and grain actually match my design? Because it may not. It could be that because I don't have like a really crisp white color in my design, within my colors here, I may want this to be more of an off-white color. So what if I were to choose, what if I were to choose this instead? I'll expand that so I can see the paper grain. Let's move that to the back. And delete out this other one. So that's probably going to be a bit of a better match for the colors that I have. And that is when having all of these things together on one page really helps, because until you see everything side by side, you have no idea if you have things that are going to be clashing, or even something as simple as the paper texture you're going to be using not matching, okay? Sometimes I like to include oh shoot, drives me nuts how that always snaps right into those boxes. Let's move this one to the back. All right, so this may be something that I want to use within my design as well, is an added texture, okay? If you're using marble or wood grain, you would want to bring that in here as well. So I don't know if I have one saved, but we'll just do a quick search. Now, one thing that I will mention is I am just going to add this in as an example here, but you do not want to grab elements from Canva to bring into your design, okay? Canva is very specific about how you can use their elements, and you can't just take one element from Canva and bring it into another software program for a design, okay? So this is just purely for an example. But see how well that wood grain works with all of it? And I know that the colors complement each other. All of the things just seem to be working. Okay, so I know that color's not going to be in there. Maybe I want to come up here to my uploads again. Oh gosh, all these buttons in my way. And maybe I will just grab this. I can click on it and expand it out. If I really like something that's going on with a piece of clip art, sometimes I'll do that. What else have we got here? Maybe we want some cherries in our design. So don't be afraid to overlap and really get a collage feeling going. Sometimes I feel like that's the best way for me to really get a feel for everything. And chances are it's probably going to spark some inspiration for your overall design. Okay, so once you have a good idea of all the clip art that you want to use from the bundle and the patterns and such, then it's going to be ready for you to start dropping things in. All right, so I would like to show you what I came up with as far as using all of these different things for my digital calendars. All right, so here's my calendar, and I'm super excited about it. I think it is really cute. You can see that I have brought in that pattern, one of the patterns that I found from the bundle. From the scene creator, I've grabbed my little Apple pencil. I've used my little glasses here. I've added in clip art here along the top. I've got the fonts that we picked out. and I think that this is super cute. You can see too that I brought in some peach colors as accents. Wherever I have these color blocks, I've switched them out for that peach color, and I pulled that from my clip art. So you can see that everything goes very well together, and we do have that 2024 color, but it's not overwhelming, okay? It's just complementing the design. And chances are, if this is a color that's trending, then that is going to stand out to our audiences, all right? You can see here that I have my paper texture in the background. I have a dot grid here, and I have made that the peach color as well. And yeah, so I'm really happy with this, and hopefully you can see how just picking out these 5 different types of elements, we have gone from this super simple design. This is the exact calendar that I used, the exact template, and you can see how plain it is. But with just those few things, we went from this to this. So hopefully that helps you understand how important a branding kit can be, and just making an overall plan for your design, all right? So if you have any questions about this, you're welcome to post them down below. If you love these templates, they're actually brand new to my library of templates. I have a link for those for you as well below, as well as within that branding kit that I provided you with. I hope that you absolutely love this video. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and meet me back here soon for another one.